Chapter 2. Alone with only a casket in front of them. It has been 5 years since the family has all been together. Sometimes, it felt like the other day, and other times, it felt like another lifetime that they would all gather in the living room each Tuesday evening to watch the new episode of House. Janet and Keith met a few years after high school. He had come to town for college. He wanted to study civil engineering. She was working as a cashier at the local dollar slasher. He was usually shy, mostly around pretty girls, but he built up the courage to talk to her when he stood in line with his bag of chips and a six-pack of Love beer. That was 30 years ago. All of the years of memories went through Janet's head as she took a seat and dried her eyes with a tissue. Bailey barely remembers the days when they would watch television together. All she has known is a man who broke their family apart. She did not consider Keith as a father. She did have some good memories of him, but those are far from her mind today. Someday, in the future, she might look back and cherish those moments, but not today. She looks around at all the people she only sees once or twice a year and wonders why they are so sad. They did not talk to him regularly. They did not come to visit. They would only see each other around Christmas and sometimes Thanksgiving at Grandma's house. Anyways, that's that. She goes to find something more interesting to do while she waits to leave, like reading the tombstones to see the youngest person who died. A man in his mid-50s sits beside Dylan where Bailey was. He looks charming but has the confidence that demands respect. "Hello, Dylan. Your father. He did a lot of great things for me. He worked for me off and on for a long time." He pulls a business card from his wallet and hands it to Dylan. Dylan remembers seeing the man before. One time, when he was a kid, Dylan and his dad were shopping at Walmart and ran into this man. Dylan's dad stopped and talked with people whenever they went anywhere. But for some reason, this man stuck out in his memory. He remembered asking his dad who he was after he had walked away. "Lee, right? He talked about you some. He always talked highly of you. I would be honored for his own to continue. Why don't you come work for me? You would make more than most kids your age." Lee puts his hand on Dylan's shoulder, then stands up and walks away. "Do you know him?" Rebecca asks as she watches him suspiciously as he gets into a Lexus LX. "No, not really," Dylan answers. 1998 Honda Civic. It might be a few years older than a 25-year-old would like, and it is not as flashy as some of the other older cars, but it never has problems. You turn the key and it comes to life. The inside of the car is littered with losing lottery tickets. Dylan is driving and Rebecca is sitting in the passenger seat. Dylan is stewing in his thoughts. She wants to help, but she knows her efforts will be disregarded. She cannot help but try anyway. She reaches out and touches his hand, but he pulls away. That was a nice service. She tries, but Dylan says nothing. "Mrs. Henderson didn't get a chance to talk to you, but she wanted me to tell you that she was really sorry and that she was there if you needed anything." He remains quiet. "Dylan, please talk to me." Dylan continues to keep his eyes on the road. "He wasn't my dad, but he meant a lot to me. We aren't going through the same thing, but this is hard for me too. We need to be there for each other." He makes a sudden turn into a gas station. "Dylan?" He runs into the gas station. Rebecca watches him disappointed. A few minutes later, he returned with a few scratchers. He uses a coin he finds in the cup holder to scratch the tickets on his steering wheel. He does not win. Damn it! Janet's dining room, which was full of joy just a few days ago, is entirely silent. The family sits in the quiet with a large casserole covered in aluminum foil on the table. Janet breaks the silence. "I will pray." Everyone bows their head except Dylan, who looks around at the three, annoyed, then bows his head. "Lord, thank you for this meal and for allowing us to have such good friends to care for us during this time. Let this food nourish our bodies. In Jesus' name. Amen." They continue to sit there for a few more moments. You never really know when the last time that you will hold your child or go to bed for the last time. At some point, You will do everything for the last time, and you will have no idea. But you will know the first time you do each thing after losing something. This will be the first time eating together after their father's funeral. Janet takes control of the situation and reaches her hand out to Rebecca. "Hand me your plate, Rebecca." She does as she is told. Janet takes the aluminum foil off to reveal a casserole that some old church lady tried to clean out her leftovers for the sake of being helpful. Janet scoops out a plate full of the yellow and green mush, then hands it back to Rebecca. "Bailey?" Janet instructs with her hand outstretched. Bailey hands her plate to Janet. She scoops out a big glob, but it gets stuck in the spoon. She has to smack the spoon on the plate a few times before it breaks loose. She hands the plate back. "Dylan." "I'm not hungry." "Dylan." He hands her his plate reluctantly. After filling his plate, she makes her own and starts eating. Her hand starts to twitch slightly. Rebecca nudges Dylan under the table and points to his food with her eyes. They take a bite. Bailey watches them eat the science experiment to get the all clear that it is safe to eat. Dylan gives the first review. "Mrs. Baker has outdone herself this time. Who knew you could make celery casserole?" Bailey chews on her bite for a few moments, then pulls some celery string out of her mouth. "This is the worst." Janet glares at Bailey without her noticing and takes another bite. "You know what sounds good?" Dylan asks Bailey. "Sancocho." "Oh my gosh, yes," Bailey answers. "Did you ever learn how to make that?" "No, I didn't." Janet slams her fork on the table. "How about we don't talk about him for the rest of the night? Does that sound good?" The smiles on Dylan's and Bailey's faces fade. "I'm sorry." Janet repents. "How about this? I have an idea. Maybe we can say a memory we have of him. I can go first." Bailey is complexed. "When you were 4, you loved chocolate chip cookies," Janet says to Bailey. "Who doesn't, right? One evening you asked me to make some for you while I was making supper. I told you that you can't have dessert before eating. I finished making supper, and when I called everyone to the table, little Bailey had chocolate all over her face. Your dad saw your face, and he looked so scared but didn't say anything." Janet's cheek twitches as she takes another bite. "So what I found out later was that you went to Dad and asked him. He gave you a whole bag of chocolate chips and told you to hide them and not to tell me. He told you that if I found out, both of you would be in trouble." Dylan and Rebecca laugh at the story. Bailey is still confused. "He could be annoying sometimes, but he would do anything for you kids." Dylan laughs as a memory comes to him. "When I was 10 or 11, Bailey cuts him off. "What is going on?" "What do you mean?" Janet asks. "You complain about him all the time. Tell us that he caused the family so much trouble, and now, just because he died, he's a great guy." "Bailey, don't talk like that." "What? This is bullshit. He sucked. I hate that he died, but I'm not going to pretend that he was winning Best Dad awards." Janet's twitch in her cheek gets worse. "We have to remember the good times. It makes it easier to let him go." Bailey throws her chair back, storming out of the room. "I don't have to do anything." Dylan tries to comfort his mother. "It's okay, Mom. Let her go." He puts his hand on her shoulder. Janet's head starts to twitch. She suddenly falls out of her chair and goes into a seizure on the floor. Dylan jumps out of his chair and tries to hold her. Rebecca rushes to Janet's side, not knowing what to do. Bailey turns around and runs back to her mother.